Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on where you are in the world. This is the High Caliber Man podcast. I'm Hugh Mayers, and I'm joined by my colleague in the field or from the field of mental health, Soliman Mathews. Greetings, my bro. What's up, dude?
Greetings, love and peace, unity, and libations, and pour forth all of the love I can on the all listening audience.
Good to be
Thank
in
you very
space
much.
with you, bro. Good to be in space with you. It's been a hot minute, as they say, and I'm looking forward to chopping up a few important issues. One of them is, in particular, or the essence of the conversation I wanted to have with you is related to Russell Brand and the Channel 4 documentary of Dispatches, where there were various allegations related to criminality and the offense of SA, and the claims that Russell is an abuser of women. Maybe he would admit to it, or he has spoken candidly about being a bit of a cad, a bit of a lad, a bit of a womanizer. It's a bit of a class issue. He's from Essex, right? So he can only be those things. I guess if he was from Eton, he'd be known as a ladies' man. He'd have a different connotation. But nonetheless, he's used sexual intimacy as a kind of recreation, or it was part of his addiction. But now it's bordered into the criminal realm or criminal accusations. But I want to find out, first of all, from you, what do you think about the language that was used and has been used in Fallout programs and conversations? So the Dispatches program, but also some of the Fallout conversations, which refer to Russell Brand as the perpetrator and refer to the young women that have made these claims as victims when no form of guilt in a civil or criminal court has been established. What's your thought about that?
Thank you for inviting me to give my opinion, which is, again, my opinion. And I think we should be able to tolerate different opinions on the matter. From my perspective, I think that we've entered a type of styling. Okay, first of all, I don't excuse SA and I don't excuse Quip. And as far as I'm concerned, if he goes through the due process of law and he's found guilty, then he should be buried under the prison. I think there's not enough attention given to that, and I think that all of us can agree that it's an appalling crime, and the perpetrator should face the full consequence of the law.
Absolutely.
However, that being said, we also have to look at the fact that there are two victims in this. The victim is those who are making the allegations, but also as well, the victim is, I believe, is society and also the law, in the fact that this at the moment looks very, very disturbing, in that this Russell Brand seems to be tried by media and there's like a witch hunt against him, and at the moment it doesn't seem balanced, and it seems as if allegations can be made against a person, a male person, then that person's name can be trashed, scrutinized, and even people make insinuations that this person is guilty, and then there's no recourse from that person, and the law seems to not be doing anything about it. So I think if you're a man, it's terrifying if you're a man, because it seems that you can get cancelled, you lose your livelihood, and you are not able to defend yourself, and it's a loss, because even if he goes to court and even if he's found not guilty in a legal court, like Johnny Depp and Amber Heard, he's still looked at with a smear, with the fact that even though he never did it, the law, the court public opinion has already found him guilty. So I think he's not really going to get over this to the degree he'd like to. He'll always have that smear on him.
So it's a bit would you say it's a bit of a stain on a man's record?
Yes, you can't get around it. People will always whisper and say, yeah, if he never did it, why would he get charged for it? The same behavior that he was doing when he was the darling of the left, no one said anything about. When the BBC was throwing money at him, Channel 4 was encouraging him and throwing money at him. The Guardian and all these newspapers he was writing in their columns for was throwing money at him and lauding him as being the laddish guy who we all know did the S word in the sense of like,
He spent a lot of time with the ladies after hours.
The ladies, correct. So he spent a lot of time with ladies, and that was encouraged and endorsed and found humorous
He was
by those
super
in the
popular, right? If I can just jump in for a
incredibly
second,
popular.
he
was
was
like an
hired. He
anti-hero.
was hired, sort of, I would say, by those organizations, and they weren't under any illusion. I don't think he concealed his personality and this type of,
No,
as you said,
can be.
laddish persona slowly emerged. I mean, from the jump, he was always about that and put it
Yeah.
out there. So if he was hired and endorsed, to me,
He was a drug addict. You know, he was a drug addict.
and a sex addict too, an alleged, well, not a self-confessed sex addict. I
And
hate
he's made amends for that. He's got charities that
I don't
support.
think it's a crime to even be a sex addict, right? As long as you have, it might be distasteful in some quarters. In some religious circles, there would be a frown, or how did he regulate that? Did he, how did he operate with that compulsion or that kind of addictive behavior? Was it within a religious framework? But let's put that to the side. But I mean, that in itself is not a crime. I think in society, we accept in the modern world that people are agents and they have, they have agency. And say, for example, if a woman were to feel empowered to want to sleep with a whole lot of different men, we're told by feminists and, just modern women in general that she shouldn't be judged negatively for that. It's her body, my choice. So I figured Russell's body, Russell's choice, as long as it's with a consenting adult.
And that's what he stressed. He was consenting. This is not a case of like who's that guy? The other presenter, the gay presenter who had that young boy that he met at 10.
Schofield.
Schofield. Yeah, he wasn't. It's not that case where he met someone. For example, there was an allegation from a 16-year-old that the relationship was inappropriate, but legally it's not. Morally, we can have discussions on that. However, it's not illegal what he did. The mother drove the daughter to meet him on occasions. She felt that she's obviously, the allegations are that he forced him. He did things which was counter to essay. However, but the thing what's happened is the victim on this dispatches show actually, I mean, the allegation,
the
alleged victim said, why is it I had to go through this for 10 years and suffer, and he's all lauded all over the media. He's now making money off this, and he's being such a great, he's being seen in this great iconic role, whereas I was that age and I believe I was groomed and I believe it was wrong. Again, after the fact. But at the time, your mother and your family, your parents endorsed this thing and didn't do anything about it. And we always talk about this. Where is parental responsibility? I mean, we recently had a young girl in London, in England, in Croydon, who lost her life in the tragic circumstances. And a 17-year-old boy now he's destroyed his life because he carried a weapon. But we don't. But we But people are saying, "Oh, this is black and black crime," and we got to look at this and we got to do more stop and search.
And we still don't even know if they've caught the perpetrator. We're saying, just based on eyewitness account, that they have. They're not looking. The police have said they're not looking for anybody else. That's what they're saying right now. And I'm saying, based on the rule of law, even as distasteful as we will find a crime, the individual that they have questioning is possibly, at best, accused.
Yeah, he's going to go before the Old Bailey.
He's not until the judge hammer comes down at the Old Bailey or some other tribunal or court. He will not be the perpetrator legally.
Well, exactly.
So we have to be careful in general, not because there are cases which we find more emotive. We bend the rules. I think that we have to keep, and this is a generic statement I'm making. We have to be mindful of the rule of law and the presumption of innocence, because it's a bedrock, cornerstone of our democracy.
I believe this is what's been lost in this Me Too trial by media culture since 2018. So we don't ask what's the parental roles in this. Why are the parents not involved? Why is society not involved? Again, with Russell, it's a 16-year-old was being driven to meet him. Right? It's not illegal. However, the allegations that he's a groomer. But with Philip Schofield, he met the boy at 10, and all through the boy until the boy was 16, until they had a physical relationship. He was in the boy's life, and got him a job wherever he was. So we can see a different parallel again. Now, Schofield was able to come on, cry, and say it was all homophobia because he was gay. This is the reason this is happening. And then obviously and then even the media said, "Oh yeah, it's wrong. Let's not be doing this to him." Also, being a white heterosexual male doesn't seem to be afforded the same empathy, the same sympathy. He's part of the men are garbage.
Once you're heterosexual, right?
Yeah.
You are deemed part of the patriarchy. I like that word because sometimes I think, what do these people that use that term with a negative connotation, what do they actually want? A matriarchy?
Obviously, this is what I'm saying to you. So you get people like Carol Vorderman, who's 60
Or
years
a
old.
gynocracy, as
Yeah,
Dr.
exactly. So you've got your
Hassan Johnson would
gynocracy. Yeah,
say.
the gynocracy. Yeah. So you got someone like, say, Carol Vorderman, who's 60 years old, 60 odd. She in the 80s, she was seen as an intelligent woman coming on Countdown, doing maths. She's a highly educated woman, and she looked what society and a sexual market value would consider a 5. And again, this is not me saying this is the sexual market value. She'd be like a 4 or 5, or 3 maybe, average at best.
Mm.
However, she's had extensive plastic surgery to the same bimbo image that she was against in the 80s, which feminists are against. She's adopted that image, the same as a trans man or trans woman does. They take the same so-called demonized, objectified image of large chest, large bottom, small hips, blonde, bimbo look, and then they adopt that image, that sexual image. But he's supposed to be against it, but then you adopt it when you have plastic surgery. And now when people call her out and say, look, you're in your 60s, it's not appropriate to act the way you're acting in certain regards, and talking about certain things that people shouldn't do. I mean, it's like, oh, you're trying to demean me as a woman. You're trying to put me down as a woman. You're trying to say that I can't be sexually this and be this or whatever. And so if Russell had met her and done the so-called allegation that they claim he did, then she too could come and go, yeah, well, he just used and abused me. I'm a poor victim. But there's some people say, well, that's not appropriate to go visit somebody, be around that person. They don't want to hear that because people think they can get their cake and eat it. That they don't have to worry about societal values and norms when they're doing what they're doing. But when they don't get what they want,
oh, that you've raised
society
such an
drags
issue.
them down, innit? It's all about society. Why you don't understand why men are this way?
You have no, but my brother, you have raised such an important issue because I definitely am an individual. I'm going to be subjective and share my opinion, right? I believe in rights. I believe in men's rights, women's rights, but I also believe in men's responsibilities, men's accountability, and women's rights and responsibilities and accountabilities. And I think I remember watching a conversation between Judge Brown and the gentleman, Mr. Lamont Hill, and it was related to Bill Cosby's case collapsing or him winning his appeal and coming out of prison. There was a back and forth. And I remember the judge saying, right, you cannot adjudicate for people's stupidity. Yes. And in the context, he used that word, very inflammatory, some may say, or provocative, right, or insensitive, but ultimately you could say accurate, right? You can't legislate for people's stupidity when he was explaining that two adults go out, they share an expensive meal, right? They share an expensive bottle of wine. They may pop a few pills and go back to, end up at one in each other's house and flat and whatever the case may be, apartment. And it's two adults. And then different things happen and it becomes a case of your word against his, she said, I did it. And I think the point he was alluding to and talking to is that as well as having a right to not be a victim of a criminal offense, right? Individuals do owe themselves a responsibility to take care of the type of situations that they put themselves into. This conversation would trigger some people to say what you're doing is victim blaming, but I'm saying whatever the case may be, don't we as individuals have a responsibility to look out for our best interest?
Mm-hmm. Totally agree with you. Yes, we do.
Yeah, because we have the right to not be defiled or to be the victim of criminal offense, but don't we have the responsibility to make rational decisions or mindful decisions? Once drugs and alcohol and late night and alone, I mean, aren't we entering into murky territory?